Welcome to the best business show in the world.
Now, many years ago, and I'm talking many years ago, when I think about it now, it's probably close to 40 years ago. I was at a little small school, primary school, and there weren't many kids in the school, and there weren't many boys, and we could just about rustle up a team to play sort of most sports. But one thing we never really managed to arrange were any football matches. And as a result, no one really played a great deal of football. So we weren't really used to football. Anyway, the teacher one day came in and said, "Hey, we're playing a game. We've got a match, and it's against this school. And they're a big school, and they've got lots of resources, and they do lots of football. And it's going to be tough. But don't worry, because it'll be all right. And if you just have a go, then we'll enjoy it. It'd be great. And who knows, we might even win." So we were all really excited. A football match, a proper football match. This was going to be incredible. Now, I'd be about 10. And I wasn't a very big kid. In fact, I was pretty small. And in fact, you could probably call me a bit of a weed, a bit of a weakling. I had no strength at all in my legs, my arms. I even probably struggled to open my eyelids. I don't know. I wasn't blessed with power, speed, or anything like that. As the old saying goes, I only had two speeds: slow and stop. And that's kind of how it was. But it didn't matter because I was excited. Yeah, we're going for a football match. I didn't understand anything about the opposition. I didn't really understand football a great deal, which some of you kind of thinking, what, at the age of 10 you didn't really understand football? No, I didn't, because we weren't involved in it. The school didn't have enough people to play matches against yourself, and so this was brilliant. This was amazing. Now the teacher kept saying, this will be a real experience, and it'll be a good test, and it'd be character building, and it'd give you a good insight into what life is like. And so we're really excited. And remember, we got on this minibus, and I think we'd managed to get. There were probably 9 or 10 of us. Okay, that was probably all we could rustle up for this game, and we went a few miles to this other school. Now they played on a football pitch, and to be honest, I'd never really seen a football pitch up close. When we played, we kind of didn't have enough kids, and if we did it in PE or something, we stood at one goal, and we all had it was basically a melee, a scrum, where we all just tried to kick it. And I remember thinking, God, these footballs are so heavy. I'd run up to it, and I put all the power that my not quite powerlifting legs had, and if I didn't quite kick it right, it felt like I'd snapped my foot, broke my ankle sort of thing, and it was bloody painful. And I remember thinking, God, this is, when we got to the pitch and we stood there and we stood out on the pitch, and it was, holy moly, there's another goal and it's miles away. And I was thinking, how far can I kick this? And I remember looking at the ball, and I remember having a practice kick, and I could probably get it airborne for about 10 feet, and then it would dribble a bit, sort of thing. We had one kid on the team, Tim, good old Tim, and he was a much stockier build, and he could give it a decent kick. He could get it in the air, and it was one of these things where we went to this match, and we got to the pitch, and I remember looking at this pitch thinking, well, it's a bit of an odd pitch because it's not even flat. And what you found was this pitch was on a hell of a slope. If you threw the ball in from the sideline, it would bounce and roll and end up in one of the goals down at the bottom end of this pitch. It was that steep. It was ridiculous. Now, the teacher comes on, and we notice that there's quite a few people there, and they're obviously the home team supporters, and they were all cheering, and they were all sort of, their team came out looking kind of like a team, whereas we looked like a bunch of kids who just managed to, walk down the street and cobble together enough And, they kind of had a bit of a kick about, and they lined up and they looked pretty good. And we thought, wow, this is interesting. And they also look quite a bit bigger than us, and they look quite a bit older than us. But not to worry, said the teacher, not to worry. You go out there and give it your best shot. And you think, yeah, absolutely. We're positive. We're going to go out there. Now, the referee, obviously, he appointed himself. He was from the other school. And I had no real concept as to what happens when a referee takes control and what have you. I didn't understand impartiality or anything like that. Anyway, he decides that their team are going to start basically on the mountaintop. We're going to be in the valley, and they're just going to run down this hill at us with the football, and we've got to do our best to hold it out, to defend that goal, to block it, to whatever. And I remember having a practice kick, as I say, and my first practice kick, I'd done it, but I'd done it downhill, and I was quite pleased. It went all right. Just before we kicked off, I tried kicking one up the hill. I didn't hit it very well. It hurt my foot. And the ball sort of bounced and bobbled and rolled a bit. And I was rather horrified to find that it actually came back to where I was stood, where I started. And then it rolled past me. And I realized I'm going to have to chase my own kick that I was trying to kick the other way. And I thought, oh, right, okay, this is interesting. Anyway, our teacher gathers round. Mr. Fairclough was his name. Mr. Fairclough was a great guy. He was kind of like not a proper teacher, but he came and tried to do a few football skills with us every so often. I think he was one of the dads. And he was one of these guys who was bald. But he wasn't bald in his own mind, because he had a few strands of hair that were immaculately swept back over his head. And, I don't know, maybe he thought when he looked in the mirror that he thought, wow, look at that full head of hair. To us, he was bald. However, what a great guy. And he said, okay, this is what we're going to do. He mentioned all sorts of things, and we kind of looked at each other thinking, okay, I heard what you said, but I have no idea what it means. So we'll just kick it that way. We'll kick it towards their goal and we'll see what happens. Okay, right, perfect. That's great. So we all stand here down in the valley as we look up the hill at these giants. They really look like giants in their immaculate outfits. And the referee had decided that, their team was starting up there. And our teacher had said, look, it might seem hard work this half, but football, 2 halves. And at half time, don't worry, because we'll turn around and then we'll be coming down the hill. All right, perfect. So we were thinking, all right, it's going to be tough. He's pre-framed it to us that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but don't worry, because then things will be reversed and it'll even out. It'll be fair. All right, this is great. Well, they kicked off and the ball damn near went straight in the goal without any of us touching, because one of them kicked it the furthest that I've ever seen a kid kick it before. And en masse, we kind of turned 180 degrees and all sort of raced back with the ball, but we couldn't catch up with it. But fortunately, it went towards the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper caught it. All right. Whew. That was a bit of a wake-up call, a bit of an alarm there to us. And we were thinking, right, okay, here we go. So we all trot out a few yards, waiting for our goalie to kick it. Our goalie kicks it nice and high in the air. Nice kick. Went up in the air. It landed. Its first bounce went straight up. Its second bounce started heading back towards him. And before we knew it, we were all sort of waiting for this ball to come towards us. And this ball's heading away from us again. We all turn again and start chasing it. But one of their kids just comes racing through and just hits it. Kind of sclaffed it. The ball sort of bobbled, went in a funny direction. You know what football pitches are like. I'm not talking Premier League. I'm talking normal football pitches. Bobbly as hell. And this ball sort of bounced and hobbled and bobbled, went past the keeper, in. 1-0. They're all celebrating. The people on the sidelines are celebrating. Oh, aren't they amazing? What a great team they are. Aren't they fantastic? They're the best. The referee, I swear, the referee celebrated as well. But as I say, referees, we were told, were impartial, and you can always rely on a ref to be impartial. But yeah, he was really pleased, and you know, I felt certain he would applaud our goal as well when we scored. However, about 10 minutes into it, goodness knows what the score was. I don't think anyone could keep tabs on it quickly enough. The only time the ref blew his whistle was to say it had gone in. And essentially every time that it happened was the ball would end up with the keeper would try and kick it in the air, they'd come clattering through and kind of barges out of the way, and any sort of shot going down that hill beat our keeper. And I think it would have beaten if 3 or 4 of us had lined up. You know, they were kicking it so hard. You'd have done that kind of bad ballet dancer impression where you flinch and you try and get out of the way of it and what have you. And the score's rattling up. And our teacher keeps saying, don't worry. It's half time soon. And thankfully, after what felt like an eternity, the ref blew the whistle. Half time, lads, half time. Gather in. And this was another new experience. Out came someone with a plate, and on it were slices of orange. And we all kind of looked at it, and then we looked at the opposition, who raced in, grabbed their orange and, sucked the orange, put the skin back on, the orange peel back on the plate, and they were ready to go again. So we went, oh, right, okay, that's what you do. Oh, yeah, I quite like that bit of orange. That's nice touch. Sausage roll would have been better, but, an slice of orange, that's nice. Anyway, the referee says, okay, second half. So our teacher sort of says, right, this is it, it'll be your turn now. And the ref said, I don't see any point in making the goalkeepers walk to the other end of the pitch, so we'll stay as we are and we'll keep going this way. And we kind of looked at our teacher, who looked at the ref, and then he looked at us and just went, never mind, come on, you can do it. Well, it was more of the same, if not worse. And it was hard work, always running towards your own goal, trying to kick the ball out. And I remember there was one time, and I busted a gut every sinew. I could see that this player he'd drawn our goalkeeper out. The goalkeeper had run out, and I was running parallel with this player, but I couldn't quite get to him to tackle him. But as he kind of cut the ball back to go round our goalie to then knock it in, I managed to then get ahead. And as he then placed the ball past our goalkeeper, who's kind of missed it, who did a brave effort and missed it. And as the ball's coming towards the goal, I'm thinking, I'm there. And as I came in to kick it, I thought, at least I'm going to save one. I'm going to clear it. I'm going to kick it away from the goal. And I swung my leg with all my might. And I just closed my eyes. In came my leg. I felt an incredible sharp pain. My leg sort of bounced and ricocheted up. I fell in a heap. And the ball went in the net. And I had kicked the ground. My foot had bounced over the ball. It had just about shattered every bone in my leg, or so it felt. I'd missed the ball. The ball had gone in. The crowd, I could hear, were laughing. And it was, that was a hell of a feeling. And the game ended with us, I don't think, if we got into their half, more than 2 or 3 times in that entire game, I'd be amazed. And, it was one of these things that, is it a character builder? Yeah, in some ways. You learn a bit about yourself. And I learned that from a very young age that I was, never going to be a footballer. But I also learned a couple of other things. And those other things were, if you expect someone to give it a good shot, one thing that you would really want and you'd hope for, and the impartiality of the referee, what could I liken that to? Well, I think I could liken that to lots of things. The organisation's strength and resources of the other team. There's lots of that you could say what does that represent and what's that a metaphor for and what have you. And the overall feeling was, if ever there was a phrase, you want a level playing field, this was it. Because not only was it not level, we didn't have the rub of the green, the luck of the bounce or whatever it was. And even when we should have had our turn doing that, we were denied it and we weren't allowed it. And you just think to yourself, okay, what does that tell me? It says, right, not everyone is going to be for you. Yes, you might have someone in your corner saying, come on, you can do it. And it's more about, what you're going to learn from it. That's fine. But as someone once said, if winning is not important, why do you keep score? And I think that's very true on this. And so where am I going with this? Well, today, you may or may not know that one of the things that I'm involved in is a care home. So as a family, we've had a care home for well over 30 years. And at the moment, what we feel like as a care home is that the care home is my school football team. And the government are the ones who are refereeing at the moment. And everything else. Now, on my team, I should say, we've got players from care homes. We've got players from hospices. We've got players from home care. We've got players from charities. And we have got all those people who life never gives them a chance. So why bother supporting them? And all the support goes to the other side. And they take all the resources, they take all the plaudits, they take all the funding, they take all the support and all the focus and all the prioritizing. And yes, they're doing a great job. I don't disagree. But compared to us, the NHS are the opposition that we faced on that football pitch all those years ago. And yes, we're trying to do the same thing. But the weird thing is, we're trying to do it whilst going up that steep uphill pitch. We've probably got the wind in our face. It's probably raining. We've probably got 3 people on our team who couldn't turn up today because they forgot their shoes or something. So we're already 3 men down. We've got a referee who is favouring the bigger, more well-resourced team, the bigger practice team. And yet we are being asked to cope with the same things. So at the moment, we are being asked to cope with coronavirus, COVID-19. And we have basically got that lack of a level playing field. Now, as a family, we've been involved in it for so many years that, to be honest, nothing has changed. So in the 40 years since I had that football match experience, it will still be happening. And in lots of areas of life. Now, what we don't want, and what we didn't want on that day when we played that football match, was we didn't want any sympathy. We wanted to look at each other in the eye and say that, okay, things were against us. But we didn't let each other down. We gave it everything. And, it's very stressful because I feel like I'm almost the manager of that team now. And I am asking our staff, just as all those other hospices, charities, home care agencies, we are asking our staff to go in against those odds. And you could say, right, the opposition is actually COVID-19. The opposition is actually coronavirus. And coronavirus at the moment is coming down that hill, and it's like crazy. And when we need a referee to give us some help, to say, actually, let's change ends. And care homes, hospices, you guys, you can play downhill. We're going to give you a break. And how are we going to give you a break? Because we're going to help you with PPE. We're going to help you support people as best you can. We're going to, when we discharge from hospital, we will test people for coronavirus, and we'll make sure that they are negative before they come to you. But that's unfortunately not always happening. And we have a referee who is saying, you will play uphill. And we will also do some random acts that will absolutely scupper you. So we might try and send people to your home with coronavirus in a situation where you are ill-prepared or ill-equipped to cope with that sort of situation. Now, just before I recorded this episode, and I've thought long and hard about doing this, but I feel that, as I say, we don't want sympathy. What we don't want is sympathy. Look, as a family, we have not earned a penny personally from the care home. We put all the money back in, and we have not paid ourselves in dividend, income, salary, wages, anything for a good 10 years. So probably since the credit crunch. So what do we do it for? Well, we do it for, we do it for staff, and we do it for the residents. But we don't want sympathy on that. What we want is a level playing field. And what that means is we need people to understand our situation. What we don't want is the referee to impose decisions on us that are particularly unfair. And as I say, I'm sure when the final sort of analysis of this coronavirus outbreak is made, you will find that the outbreaks in care homes almost always came via the hospital. And the home was put under great pressure to accept someone into the home without being told that they might be positive, and that then ran rife through those care homes, and a lot of people suffered as a result of it. Why do we know this? Well, we had many weeks ago, we had a situation where myself and the manager, we had a conversation about what to do if someone has to go to hospital. Now, residents in a care home always go to hospital on a regular basis, either for regular routine checkups, or they're not feeling too well, or they might have had a tumble. It's part and parcel of care home life. You've got frail and elderly people, for us with dementia, and that, we do have hospital visits for them. Now, we had someone who who'd been admitted, and they wished to return to us, and we dug our heels in and said only if we get a test that comes back negative. We had 3 different people phone us threatening us to do this, and we dug our heels in and said, no, we need to know. We need to know. And they said, no, you don't. And I said, yes, we do, because we have no masks, we have no eye protection, we have no visors, we only have our usual PPE of gloves and aprons and what have you. And we also have an environment where asking someone with dementia to remain in a room for 2 weeks is a potential real issue. And we could step into the legal minefield of deprivation of liberty and various other aspects to it. But the practicalities are that a person is very difficult to explain to a person who may struggle to at times understand why something's happening, that they cannot leave a room. So we had various issues, and we dug our heels in and we said, no, we're quite happy to have them back. Just do the test. We got under great pressure, and fortunately we held out. The test was done. It was negative. All good. But we then got a directive from NHS and Health England, or whatever it is, followed up by the local authority, where we were instructed that we had to take, if we had capacity, we had to take someone from hospital within 2 hours. And that person could be positive. And we should apply social distancing. Interesting concept in a care home when you're providing personal care. But also where it might be difficult to enter a bedroom and not have social distancing. What we should do is push the bed into the farthest corner from the door. And we just got these instructions, and it was just this conversation again with the manager, Jim, who's an absolute superstar. And I said, right, okay, nobody comes into our home without both of us agreeing that we're happy to take someone. Because here's the thing. Could you imagine if there was a hospital ward who had spent weeks and weeks and weeks ensuring that everyone on that hospital ward, say it was a cancer ward, so some oncology ward, and the people there were very poorly, very vulnerable, but fortunately they were coronavirus free, and they were free from the disease because people had worked tirelessly to keep it isolated. Could you imagine if we said, oh, by the way, within the next 2 hours, we're going to put someone in there who has coronavirus? Could you imagine the reaction that would have given? Uproar, public inquiries. No doubt Labour would be demanding inquiries into this, and the trade unions to walk out and all the rest of it. All those sort of issues. And quite right too. When it's reversed and we're told to do it, then you kind of look at it and you go, yet again, the social care sector is not second-class citizens. They're not third-class citizens. They're probably 8th, 9th or 10th class citizens. And at the moment, we've not had family allowed to visit for a long time, and that is very tough. And we have done everything we can in terms of staffing and trying to make sure everyone's safe. We're not immune, and we are up against it as a nation, as a sector, as an individual home, and it is incredibly stressful, incredibly worrying. And all we're saying is give us a level playing field, because as I was about to say on the news just before I started this podcast, when I was wondering whether to do it or not, there was a professor. He was a consultant, and he was doing these visits. So it was called something like hospital at home or something. So instead of people coming into hospital where, they'd reveal that a large number of people who go into hospital actually contract the virus. They decided that they would keep people at home and the doctor would go out and visit. And this doctor had the temerity and the misguided, naive cluelessness to suggest that when he stood outside or whatever, and he said, when I go in there, there is no difference between that house when I'm in there and the hospital. And I thought, you arrogant so-and-so, how can you say there's no difference? And, the assumption is that everyone probably lives in a house like that consultant. And that's not true. Maybe they assume that the person's on their own, and that's not true. There could be all sorts of family generations having to live in that house. There could be pets who aren't being walked. There could be all sorts of circumstances. And to say that there is no difference between that person's home and a hospital just begs the question, well, what the hell do we need a hospital for? And it's this attitude that if I was now, I feel like now, if I was put back on that football field, I would go up to that referee at halftime and say, how dare you not turn these teams around so we have a chance to go downhill towards that goal down there. He says, how dare you not do that? Because I'd have the wherewithal, the life experience and the ability to say, no. It's not happening. It's not happening like that again. And that's what we've done. We've dug our heels in. We've made ourselves unpopular at times. But we've dug our heels in, and as a result, we are in a much better position than a lot of places. And those places, I am sure, were given a Trojan horse. And I am sure had issues that cropped up that were beyond their control, or they were pressured into doing it. And I'm sure it will come out that that's the case. And I'm sure that this is what has happened. And I'm sure that this is why in my head I'm transported back 40 years to being on that football pitch, and just the feeling of utter disappointment and the feeling of utter disbelief that a grown-up could do that to a bunch of kids. And I'm thinking, well, we're not kids anymore. So, and we're not going to stand for it anymore. And we're going to actually, fight back on this one and say, no. We have a level playing field on here. And if we go down, we go down, but we do it on a level playing field. We're not having this against us as well. Coronavirus, COVID-19 is bad enough as it is. The situation is bad enough as it is without you trying to make things worse. So, there we are. In terms of many of you out there, again, you don't want sympathy. We don't want sympathy. We don't want people to say, oh, this is, you should be kind of, really? Is that what's happening? That doesn't sound right. No, absolutely. What we want is just the level playing field. And then we'll do the best of our ability with our knowledge. We'll do the best we can with what we've got, where we are right now. And that's what we've always done. And we've never been at the top of the priority list. We've never had the handouts, the support, or anything like that. We're always last in line. And one of the things that always staggers me is at the beginning of this whole crisis, I could have given a reasonable opinion as to how many items of PPE would be needed on a weekly, monthly, and 6-monthly basis. And it wouldn't have taken a rocket scientist. Now, all I can think is that the government also knew that number, or if they didn't, then shame on them. But if they knew that number and they also knew the capacity to supply that number, and it was a case of they had to keep a brave front, because if they gave the true state of the situation, then there'd have been panic, and that's the last thing you need. And I guess tomorrow, no, where are we? Wednesday? No, on Friday is going to be the 75th anniversary of VE Day. And I was explaining to my kids that didn't mean that was the end of the war, because VJ Day wasn't going to happen until August, and a lot of people still had to fight for many months afterwards. So this was just in Europe. But in those dark days there's no way Winston Churchill would have told people the real situation. Because you can't, because you've got to have, psychologically, you've got to have things, the public has to be psychologically robust enough to cope with things. But, the one thing that amazes me is that no one has reached out to ask us a single question about, what we think should be done, what should be a priority, how should things be done, what should be discharged from hospital process, and things like that. So it was hugely disappointing when someone was discharged from hospital and they had pledged that they would test everyone leaving hospital. Everyone. They pledged everyone going back to a care home will be tested, because at the hospital they can test in a really short space of time, so I'm told. And someone was discharged back to our home, and it was only upon arrival that when we asked for the test result, we were told there wasn't one. And so that's kind of 14 days isolation for someone. We've now requested a test kit so that we can do it ourselves, and then we can find out what we're potentially dealing with or not. So it's really hard. That felt like another refereeing decision going against us, and it feels like the mood is always care homes and hospices, last to be funded, first to get kicked. They're not professionals, and they are a very low ranking compared to healthcare professionals, as they call themselves. I am not for one moment saying that their job is not incredibly difficult, but at the moment we are being asked to do exactly the same job without the hospital resources, the hospital budget, the hospital systems, the hospital setup, the hospital support level, the numbers of people involved in hospitals, and everything else that can be brought to bear upon coronavirus. It may sound like a long-winded rant, and it probably is, because today I spent the day listening to the staff coping, listening to the residents, just everyday life in the home, and it all seemed very normal. And that is just purely and simply down to an amazing bunch of people who have the bravery, the ability, the sort of the fortitude, the mental toughness to step into a building where at the moment others fear to tread. And let me give you an example of that. We received what one of the members of staff called the death box. Now you're probably thinking, what the hell's the death box? And I thought it was quite an appropriate name, because in a care home, if somebody passes away, then if they've been seen by a doctor within, a few days, a week or so, then the doctor's often quite easy and at ease to issue a death certificate, because it's probably from something that he's been treating or been involved with in very recent days. If someone dies outside of that, then without unexpectedly, shall we say, then that would often be referred to more analysis, and someone would come out and see it and do the thing, and it might go to coroner's court and be referred, and just check that everything's all right. Perfect. That's how we like it. Okay, so we get official death certification from a GP who will come into the building and do that. Okay. When I say that others fear to tread in care homes at the moment, we got this death box. And what was in the death box? We got a torch and we got a stethoscope. And it was kind of like a really crap dressing up box. And the instructions are, if someone passes away, we would like you to use the torch to shine in their eyes to see if there's any pupil reaction. We'd like you to get the stethoscope and check for a heartbeat. And then on a video link, we would like to you to do that for us to demonstrate, and we will issue the certified death over a video call. Presumably because they don't wish to come into the building. So, again, is that like a hospital? A hospital's getting to the point where we sort of give patients a little kit and say, care for yourself. It just feels like at times like you're being abandoned. Like the sector is just so undervalued. Elderly people are so undervalued that they can do these sort of things, and so what? They were old. They were going to die anyway, and it's shameful, really. You're asking. Many of our staff are young. Many are not so young, but we're asking them to go in, and we're asking them to do the job of a GP, or somebody else who's entitled to certified death, and you just think, what stage have we got to where we think that is acceptable? And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But I guess it's crazy times. Now, all that we're saying is, level playing field. Level playing field. And that, when people are out there, so this is the Best Business Show. And I've gone on a very personal sort of business thing, but I thought it was interesting to kind of go behind the scenes and how it plays on your mind. And I'm sure there's people out there at the moment who are finding life incredibly difficult. I mean, we're so blessed in terms of we are still in a job, so our staff are still employed, and there's still a job to do, and there's still a demand and things. But I'll have to talk about that as well. But it's one of these things that everyone out there at the moment in business who's been denied the ability to get out there and do things, it is a very, very tough time. And you're thinking, where's the money coming from? What sort of business am I going to have at the end of it? And all you are wanting is a level playing field. And I know when people have been applying for CBILS and the bounce back loans and things like that, all we want is a level playing field. And when somebody transferred their job and ended at whatever it was, 29th of February and started on the 1st of March, and they miss out on both jobs or whatever it is, a level playing field. And all we're saying is, whenever you're in a situation like this, is you just say, look, hey, give us a level playing field and we'll fight for ourselves. We will fight for the team. We will fight for the community. We will fight for the country, for the nation, for the economy, for the health service, for everything. But give us a level playing field. Life is tough enough already, and you don't want it tilted against you. You don't want to feel like you're always going uphill. You want that second half where you're going downhill. And to some extent, we're on the uphill bit at the moment, and we're just hoping that, if you say, right, okay, look, we're going to turn things around, we're going to give you help, then hopefully second half we feel like we're going downhill. Now, I was going to say just one other thing that's causing us problems. So I know many care homes have already reported this, and I have, back in March, is the ability to get food ordering for care homes. And, it has put people at increased risk when instead of being able to order 30 cartons of milk, we are allowed 1 or 2 at a time. And we were having people, myself included, going out and doing multiple shops. We were being able to get deliveries in that were tiny deliveries, as if you were a 3-bed semi. And that has caused a great problem. So when the government was saying avoid unnecessary trips, instead of getting 1 delivery, we were having to make maybe 12, 15 unnecessary trips to shops. And the support we got, the main supplier of food for us, we've used Asda for many years, single 1 or 2 deliveries a week, and we spend £30,000+ a year with them. We were extremely worried. We wrote to head office. Head office said, oh, right, it's down to individual stores. Go to your local store and they will almost certainly help you out. Went to the local store and the local store manager said, head office don't know their arse from their elbow. There is absolutely no chance, and you get in 1 pint of milk and a loaf of bread, and that's your lot. So we have had staff who've been spending time just trying to book delivery slots, as well as getting out there, collecting stuff, picking up food, and all these multiple things. And it's just another thing that you feel you're at the bottom of the pecking order. Could you imagine if they said to the hospitals, if they said, oh, by the way, we know that we ship in food, but we know it's a big hospital, but we can only give you 2 cartons of milk instead of the 20,000 that you normally get. No, it's a nonsense, isn't it? Absolute nonsense. And yet that's a situation that 2 months in we're still struggling to do that. So again, level playing field. That's all you want. We're not asking to overstock. We're not asking to build to hoard or do anything like that. We just want level playing field, and that in business is kind of what you do. You don't mind a challenge. You don't mind hard work. You don't mind being up against it. But what you can't do is when everything is aligned against you. That becomes very tiring very quickly, and it's kind of where's the fun in that? It's meant to be a game, isn't it? Life, football, you need to have fun along the way. It can't be a trudge, a slog the whole time. It just can't. And if anyone is in business, and it has been, then I'd say get out of business if that's where it is, because your health is worth more than that. But there we go. I've gone on long enough. I shall just climb down from my soapbox. Interesting days. Look, everyone, please stay safe. Follow the advice about not going out, or when lockdown eases, just be sensible, please. I know that people have been wanting to visit loved ones in care homes, hospices, wherever you may be. I know charities are really suffering at the moment. Home care is really suffering at the moment because people are isolated and it's very difficult to get out there. And the whole world wants to come together and have a hug. And virtual hugs don't do it, do they? So the quicker we do this, the quicker we can overcome it. And the quicker we can get back out there and really show in person that we care for one another. My name's Nigel T. Best. Thank you so much for listening to today's slightly different Best Business Show, and we'll be back soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Great party!
Oh, Master Luke, what a wonderful party. Oh, heavens. What's the matter with that chap?
I'm dying. Beep, 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 beep. Hey, look. Let's get this on the road. Now let's scan. There's someone ill. Right, Jim, get the thing.
Okay, you mean the stretcher? Here we come.
All right there, me old China. What are you doing lying on the floor? You don't want to be there. Come on.
Yeah, help him up. There we go.
Now, don't be afraid of these masks. They're just all we could find at the time. All right? Oh, Master Luke, I hope he's all right.
Meanwhile...
2 parsecs later.
Woo, we're here. Now to get him all better.
How did that ambulance get here before us?
Well, time travel or something. Backflip. Woo.
No way.
Right, let's get him down.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Oh, God. Yep, keep him steady.
All right.
Relax. These are normal masks.
Beep, 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 beep,
Scanning,
beep, beep, beep,
scanning,
beep, beep, beep,
scanning.
beep, 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 beep. Positive for coronavirus.
No.
Right, let's help him.
Yeah, we've got the resources. We've got everyone here.
Right, come on.
Let's
Get in
put
this-
him somewhere really intensive.
Yeah, in you go. There you go.
In you go, mate.
Right. You, over it. Make sure he's fine. I'm just going to go stand over here now.
May we see the patient?
No.
Oh, no.
How's he doing?
2 weeks later.
Yay!
We're all back!
Yay!
Woo!
Ah!
Yay, we're back!
Oh, Master Luke, isn't that wonderful?
Thank you, NHS and key workers. May the 4th be with you.